Okay, says it's recording.
Yay! Meow meow. Cool. Okay. So I'm really excited to get to have this kitty chat with you.
Me too.
I remember for the longest time I felt like I didn't really personally know any other kitties, any other kittens. And then actually when I was pledging for Onyx Pearls, I met a bunch of felines. I was just like, we're all kitties. This is great. And then kitties just started coming out of the woodwork. And so quickly finding out that all these friends people I've been friends with for years, oh yeah, I'm a kitty too. I'm a Neko. I'm a this. Just and I think maybe part of it is just because, like cats, we tend to be solitary creatures. So there's a pull towards wanting community, but at the same time we're very solitary creatures, so we don't necessarily follow through with it. But I think we need it. I know I need it, and not just because of scary isolating COVID times, but just in general. And yeah, I think it's cool seeing pups being together and having that camaraderie. And I am friends with a lot of pups, and so it's I'm the one kitty in this group of pups, but it'd be cool to have other kitties to hang out with.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. I don't even know that many online. Now that I'm thinking about, a lot of any of my pet play friends are mostly puppies and bunnies. A lot of bunnies.
A lot of bunnies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any bunnies. I know lots of puppies and foxes. Yeah, I remember seeing meeting a few foxes, and now of course I'm finding more kitties. So, but I don't know any ponies.
I don't either, actually. I feel like I hear about that for sure, but I don't actually personally know any.
Right. That's funny. Well, I guess let's start with the typical interview question. How did you discover that you were a kitty?
My Dom actually helped discover it for me. So I think it was always in there. I love cats as far as in real life, pets. And I think personality-wise, I've always been drawn to cats, especially I think my witch side as well. Just that feminine, sacred feminine energy. I'm a Scorpio, so that very like you're saying, solitary, kind of dark, mysterious, has a sweet side, but has a not sweet side, has a very sensual side, which is all very cat-like, I guess, if you think of mythology and just how cats have always been represented in culture and religion. And so I always was drawn to them, but I'd never really, I guess, had the safe space or the encouragement to think of it in actually playing as one and getting into it in the more kink aspect. And so when I met my current partner, we were BDSM right away, from date one. So we were already kind of going into that. And then together we just grew and kind of just with creating a safe space and communication, what do we want to explore in kink and BDSM? Because we knew we were both so open to it. And so he right away started calling me Kitten. So at first it was just him calling me that, sort of a more romantic pet name. But because we were DS, he started kind of slowly incorporating it. So I think, honestly, the very first thing we did was him encouraging it. We were having sex and he wanted me to meow for him. And I was like, okay. So I started meowing and he was really into it. And so that's how we just started, is I started to meow more. And then it was okay, not just when I'm orgasming or we're in sex, it was meowing and playing as foreplay and kind of getting into it. And so the more we kind of just practiced that, it almost just naturally became well, you're basically my kitten, and let's get into this. So then it was ooh, okay. So then it was buy props and start actually going into that space and acting like a kitten with him. And he really enjoyed it. So we started doing stuff where it was, you know, even in the non-sexual context, like I'm going to put you on a leash, or I want you playing with cat toys next to me, or drinking or eating out of a pet bowl while like I read to you, or while I play video games. So I started kind of being like his pet kitten around him while he was usually doing other activities. And then we slowly moved it into our primal play as well. So we kind of moved it back into kink and sex space, where he is a wolf and then I would be kitten, and we would play in animal form. And if it was primal play, then that's like when I'm not being sweet kitty. That's like I'm scratching and biting kitty, and he's growling and, you know, biting back. And so we would pretty much very rough primal play, and then of course that usually ended up in a sex capacity.
That's fun. That's cute. That's a fun journey. Love it. I actually feel like I was a kitty before I was kinky. As a little girl, I liked pretend, and like most kids do. Most kids like to play like they're animals. But yeah, I would get like a bowl of ice cream and then put it on the floor and like eat my bowl of ice cream, like on the floor like a cat. And then it's funny, I realize now, like, you know, when I was 18 and I started stripping, my first stripper name was Kitty, and my stripper name was Kitty pretty much everywhere I worked, unless there was already a kitty there. In like most adult and like kink community spaces, I was usually known as like Kitty or Kitten or Little Cat. I'm like Princess Kitty on FetLife. But I didn't really cross over in any way until like it was like 2004, and I went to Fetish Ball and I like bought a set of vinyl tail and ears, and I decided like, oh, I told my date, I'm like, I want to go as your kitty. And so like, yeah, so I was like in lingerie, in my tail and ears, and like on a leash. And I didn't know about pet play or kitten play or anything like that at that point. Or well, I was vaguely aware that it was a thing, but like not really. But even like when I left the adult industry and I had largely taken a break from going to any events like that, I would still do stuff like, like my partner worked from home, so I would sometimes just come into his office and like put a blanket down on the ground next to his feet and just curl up and take a nap. And she's like, yeah, I'm just gonna do this. And I would joke about being office kitty. Yeah, and I like to meow, and I like to purr, and I like to like knead on people. But it's only in the last few years that like I've finally really embraced it. Me like, nah, like this kitten thing, this kitten play kink thing, that it's definitely a huge part of who I am, and it always has been. I just haven't fully named it and embraced it. So now I'm excited about it, and I really do love that it's mine. I love that it's something that I can do by myself, but also share with other people. So we were talking about gear earlier. What is your favorite kind of gear?
I mean, I guess as far as look-wise, cat ears, of course, always help you get into that space for sure. I love the use of the bowl, like pet bowls, because I think that helps with getting, you know, you're down closer to the ground, you're really in that animal space. And then I've been recently getting more into like buying cat toys. I got this actually it's right behind me, but this was like a custom, someone was just experimenting that normally makes like custom passies with all the gems and things. And they decided to make a kitten toy, even though they normally make more like little space toys. And I just thought it was such a cool idea. There's actually like a cat face, resin cat face they made in cat paw. But kind of that idea of like, what sort of stuff can I get where it's just fun, and it helps you get in that headspace, and it makes noise. Although all my cat toys now make my real cats try to steal them and chase me around. So I've definitely had to like have a box with my cat play stuff and try to put it in a room that my cats don't get into as often, and have like they have their bin of toys and I have my bin of toys. I do have a cute picture recently where I was doing cat play and I think I was eating like yogurt or something out of my cat bowl. And my kitty, she's my familiar, she came in and started eating out of it too. The other end, and it just was so sweet and cute. And I had been like videoing or taking a picture, so I got a picture of it because I think I had a tripod or something. Oh, she's sharing my bowl with me, but like, let's not do this all the time.
Sweet. Yeah.
Oh, and my favorite is I have a kitten kennel, like a very large one. And so I use it for both. Right now it's super decorated, more like a little space, but I take everything out and I'm doing like a full kitten space. And we've used it usually with my partner. We've used it, but I'll put on like just the tail and ears and a collar, and maybe like be naked or something, and then I'll have to like stay in there, and there's nothing really else in there. Maybe like a bowl of water, like we'll do really like pet style. And I've slept in there, I've played in there, I've had it be punishment before where I have to have time out in there with nothing else in there. It does get a little cramped even though it's big. We've done like sex stuff in there with kids play. It has a lot of uses, so that's one of my best purchases I made was my big giant kennel.
Nice. I dig it. It is interesting how much like kitty and little space, like how much crossover there is. Like there's like a Venn diagram of like kittens and littles. I feel like that middle space would be pretty sizable. It's not quite a circle, but yeah, there's definitely a big crossover. I think, and I love that toy that's like it's like a little toy, but it's like made like a kitty toy. That's brilliant, and that like perfectly illustrates that crossover.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Do you, and you identify as little as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but did that come before or after kitten?
After. So I was kitten first and then became little. And so when I first became little, I think because I was a kitten and so strongly attached to it, my little side was very, like you're saying, the middle of that Venn diagram. So like my first pacifier says daddy's kitten and has, little cats on it. Like a lot of my first little space stuff had kitten stuff on it. And that was like the kennel was one of I already had. And so that was like one of my first little space areas I decorated, but it was actually already like my kitten space. And I just kind of converted it to be a little space. So I definitely had that crossover, I would say even more strongly in the beginning. And then as my little really developed, now I kind of have it more separated now than I used to.
Yeah. That's cool. I think, I don't know, I embraced little identity before I fully embraced the kitty identity, but my little kind of shuts on and off, and particularly like right after I had my baby, like I have a baby, so my little space just completely shuts down, and it's not like a choice, it's just meh, it just happens. But I found that like kitten space gives me like this safe middle ground where it's like I get to be cute and cared for and silly, but I don't feel quite like I'm going into like any age thing, and so like that feels comfy for me. And I mean, kitten space, like especially like lately, it's just been like a comforting space anyway. Struggling with like a lot of like medical things right now, so I'm uncomfortable a lot. I'm stuck in bed a lot, and so it's like, well, what can I do? Well, I can pop on some ears and I can play with the ball. And, you know, kitties are in bed all the time anyway, because, like, what do? We nap when we sun ourselves.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I've found that with like all my kink personas, there's personas within the personas, if that makes sense. So for sure, I have the kitten, like you're saying, the very small kitten, which is like how it relates to little space pretty easy because you're like a young baby kitten. And then I have more adult kitten almost, which is more that primal, where I'm gonna play in a more almost adult and sexual space. And then like you were saying, you have your space where you're playing with a partner, and then you have your time where it's just you as kitten. And so they're all kind of like their own person in their own way.
Yeah, definitely. I actually made, I'll send it to you if you want. I made like this chart, this like handout and chart to like more fully explore all my kink personas. And so it's like a little questionnaire that I built, and you go through it, and then you can list all your different kink personas, and then there's like a visual layout that you put them in, that you write it down, and you see like where one branches off to another. It's pretty fascinating. You do find personas within personas, and where one leads to another. Like, yeah, there's my kitten that's like little baby kitten that wants to be cared for, and then there's like my slutty cat girl, that like anime cat girl, who is definitely very grown up and very sexy, and then that like links to just like my slutty power bottom space, right? But then also from like slutty cat girl is also this like feisty feral cat who is not quite, hubby's going to work, not quite a brat, but definitely a like dom oriented switch. If you try to top me, like, you better be really ready to top me. Almost like, I don't like the term tamer, it's more like handler. Can you handle that space? And then that ends up connecting to something else. Yeah, the permutations of kink personas is like fascinating.
And that goes back to like your gear, like you're saying, because we noticed once we started doing the kitten play, but in a primal play way, that this is not primal play. So we noticed right away that my dom ended up getting me a couple different leopard masks. And that made so much more sense, because we always think cats, we think like our domesticated cats, but kitten play can be you're playing like, you know, a Black Panther or a leopard, you know, those are all, a lion, those are all cats and kittens too. And so that really helped as well, like you're saying, to develop that different space. So I actually wear different gear if I'm more in that adult sexual, or in that I'm not a nice kitty. I will definitely bite and scratch you. And so for that, I have a lot more leopard based things, which I have found that really helps to kind of make that difference, you know, like pink cutesy ears is not like I'm going to bite you.
Right. Yeah. With this, yeah, when it's like sparkles and prettiness, then it's definitely that like softer, like I might bite, but because I'm feral, so I'm always gonna like bite, scratch a little bit. There's gonna be little bitty baby bites, but I don't know. I need a good pair of ears for when I go into more ferals. Well, I have like leather. I have my like leather mask that is like a whole mask with ears, and so that's very much like feline space where like I'm gonna leave teeth marks on you, and it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, I've talked as kitten, and it was much more like you're saying, very feral and very. It definitely wasn't little soft kitten for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
It wasn't nice biting.
I mean, it's nice, but it's not nice. It's nice.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So cool. Yeah, I only recently started looking into the whole primal thing because I see it all over TikTok. And at first I was just like, ooh, I have heard of this thing, but I haven't actually seen it. Ooh, and then realized, oh, that's me. It me. Not the chase and tackle thing though, because running. Ugh. Ew.
I have chased a little and tackled, but not really. I wouldn't say we're running that much. It's more just like really rough wrestling for sure.
Yeah. It's something like man. I hate to use like gendered terms, but I can't think of a non-gendered way. Grappling, I guess, like manhandling, being like just thrown around like this is where you are now, this is where you are now. And then occasionally like pushing back on that and kind of vying for top position.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that's almost like gets into switch territory, and it can be very cathartic. Like at least I found with my primal play is it's like the one time where I'm not, unless we're just full switching where I already go into that space as the top and as the dom for that night. But when we primal play, we almost are just both doming. And it's so wonderful because it like instead of being that submissive kitty where I'm gonna obey him or just, you know, that's my owner, it's like we're vying, like you're saying, for who's gonna be. And it's just like you get all this energy out and you kind of get almost like anger out or just emotions out, and it can feel so good to just like that's what makes it so primal, is you just like you're not inhibited in any way, like you just like let it all out. And for us too, then it kind of like dives into your pain play and impact play a little bit too, because if you let it get rough enough, now you're getting the adrenaline of the pain and the release of the pain as well. And so it kind of ends up checking off a whole bunch of boxes.
Right? Yeah. I've had days where like my anxiety is really high, like I'm just really stressed out, and I've just gone to my partner and go like, I would like to make a request. I have a sexual request. That's like, I would like sex, but I need it to be no talking. Noise is fine, but no words. I need you to literally throw me around like a rag doll, hold me down strongly in these places, not these places, and be prepared that I will occasionally bite and try to hold you down. And like this, I need exactly that, and it's very precise. And thankfully, I have very loving, giving partners to just like, okay, let's do that. Let's just fuck that anxiety right out of you.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I've done that. I did it where, and I wanted them to know beforehand, because like you're saying, I didn't want talking, and I already knew that. So like I put the instructions on a piece of paper, taped it on the outside of the door, and then sat in my kitten kennel, like ready, and was just like, here's the instructions. So that way, like he already entered the space, like without, you know, words, and already was entering the space how I wanted. It was really fun.
That's so cool. I love that idea. Yeah, because it took me a while to figure out and to realize like, it didn't take me a while to figure out. I knew right away that like when I am in that headspace, talking, even if it's like dirty talking, just like throws me off. And I want to just be like, shh, you're ruining it. Shh, you're so pretty. Shh. But, you know, I don't want to like shut anyone down like mid-scene, and so often I would just be like, oh God, now they're talking and I want them to shut up. So finally, like, just, you know, it's okay to ask for no talking at the beginning of things, or even in the middle. Just go like, hey, my headspace, I don't want words right now. Can we have no words? Yeah, it's okay to ask for the things that you want. And even though I, you know, teach that to other people, sometimes you forget that for yourself.
No, for sure. And I learned that, like, that's how I got the idea to do the paper, is I learned it, like you're saying, by not establishing beforehand enough, and then you're in the scene, like you're saying, and you're realizing you wanted something specific, and now it's a weird time to try to, like you're saying, be like, shh, you know, don't talk. So I had to learn that from doing it kind of the not wrong way, but the way that didn't work as good. And so now especially if we're going to do any kind of Primal or pet play, we like really lay out the rules beforehand and then be like, start scene. So it's really, really helped.
Yeah. Negotiations. I feel.
My cat is.
Is that your kitty like messaging? Yeah. She's like, I want in on this conversation. It's
I'm
about
your computer.
I love negotiations. Like I feel like negotiating, especially if it's me, like if I really need something and I'm speaking to what I need in that moment, like the negotiating and like making the plan actually becomes like part of the foreplay. I like gets me excited, like, ooh, what are we gonna do? What's it gonna look like? Like, yeah, it's fun.
It allows for a lot of creativity you wouldn't think of either. Like my partner's so creative and I love that. And so we've done primal play like supernatural version, but still staying within like a cat and wolf. And he's established like, so he's a werewolf that night and I'm like some kind of magical cat. And he's like, you can do this specific spell. And like, if you do this movement, then like I'll freeze because it means like you put a curse on me and I can't move. And so he laid out the rules. And then we turned off, like the house was pitch black. We turned off all the lights, put on like the creepiest music that was just like Dracula soundtrack basically. And then we just like went all out and like we beat the shit out of each other. Like it was the roughest primal play ever. It was so much fun. I definitely tackled him that night for sure in the dark. I was hiding behind a corner and he came around and I just like swiped his legs so hard and he just like came down. But I never would have thought of that. Like he came up with the whole thing and I was like, oh my gosh, of course, there's no rules. Like we can be magical kitties and puppies, like you don't have to be a literal house cat.
Right. Yeah, so much room. And I need to like get an Airbnb or something to do that. I am limited somewhat in my primal play with having kids at home.
Yeah, we got lucky. That was a night where we didn't, we had shared, so we had alone nights, which helped.
Yeah, it's weird to like be in primal space, but know that you have to be quiet.
I'm struggling this year because now that I'm have a roommate, it's a similar situation where it's not in a kid way, but it's someone I'm not comfortable with or would do stuff in front of. And my house is really small and like I don't even have a bedroom door on my master bedroom. We did not intend to have a roommate in this house. It just ended up that way, unfortunately. And it's been really hard because I feel like I haven't gotten to have like kitten space as much as I would want or kitten play, because where can I do it in my house, like you're saying, or it doesn't feel as cathartic if I'm feeling really like quiet and small, like I'm trying to quietly do it or like subtly do it. Does not feel the same as having that full freedom.
Yeah, definitely. Although I find that like with like solo kitty space, like just popping on a pair of ears and just wearing my ears sometimes is enough for me, like to kind of like have like a calming effect. Like I was folding laundry the other day and like decided to just put on, I have like one set of bunny ears. I was like, I think I'm just gonna be a bunny today. And kind of taking that space of like, there's always that one kid that wants to wear their Halloween costume every day or wear different Halloween costumes every day. I was like, I can be that kid. Like I can like be what I'm gonna be a bunny today. Maybe tomorrow I'll be a princess and I will like sweep my floor as a princess and who cares. I am much more likely to like happily get some like certain things done when I have this like other aspect kind of surrounding it. Like I hate housework, so sometimes I will just like put on my heels and pearls and basically have like solo 1950s housewife role play with myself. I'm like, now my house is clean.
I love that. And I've tried that a few times and it has helped, but I've run into the same issue. Like I had like butterfly wings on and something else. I don't know. I just got really cute and thought, you know what? I have to do all these chores and I don't want to, so I'm gonna make it fun. And I think I turned on like a little space playlist I have and just tried to make it like cutesy. But it was kind of the same issue. Like my roommate came out of his room and I just felt like I don't really want to be in little space. He's safe with kink as far as he knows, and his best friend is a little like he's really familiar with it, but I don't feel like we have that relationship where I don't want to be little in front of him. And so it was really awkward because it was like I felt like I was caught like doing chores in costume.
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I was enjoying it.
Aw. Aw. I just realized that little space is literally like Mary Poppins' spoonful of sugar. Doesn't get the chores done as fast as she does, but it does make it better.
Yeah, I like what you were saying though about being in bed, and since you've been dealing with some of your medical stuff, I saw your Instagram video, with when you had your yarn ball, and it just reminded me that, which I think is a good reminder for like anyone that does any kind of kink personas or kind of role play, is it doesn't always have to be elaborate and huge. You don't have to have a full costume, and like I can be bad about that, and so I think it would really help, especially with my situation, with not having enough privacy, like you're saying, like, remember, like, I can be laying in bed and just throw on a pair of ears and just mentally go there and give myself that break. Like, I think I was so used to doing very elaborate stuff with my partner, and especially because we had the custody arrangement where we would have a lot of alone time in our house. So we would like use the whole house and have full costumes and like super planned out role plays, and then it would turn into hours of sex, like it was this whole thing. And it's a good reminder that I don't have to make it so elaborate and so long and so big. And I still need to be taking that time to like still be being with my kitten side, and letting her out and finding that healing and release from it. And I need to do that and find creative, small ways to do that.
Yeah, totally. I struggle with like kind of like imposter syndrome for a bit, because like we were talking about earlier, it feels like there's kind of a bit of like limited representation around kittens, and like so often it's like what you see is like the chateau girls who are in like amazing like full lingerie and these like incredible ears and tails, and like I love them, like I absolutely love them, but not all of us, like I cannot be a like red bottoms and agent provocateur kitten every day, or like the high tech ears that like move and all this stuff's like, oh, I don't have those dollars. I don't like, yeah. And so feeling like, yeah, like I couldn't fully dress up and like go all like to the nines with it. It's kind of like, well, I'm just a weird little envy with cat ears. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I am just a weird little envy with cat ears, and that's fine. And when I have the space and I have the spoons to go like full blown, like let me get all super duper dolled up, full kitty, like high key, high protocol, high fashion kitty, I can do that. But like I'm also a feral kitten, so like put on ears and like be in my sweatpants, and that's fine.
Sure. Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely have had that with having to kind of wear clothes because of the privacy situation, and like you're saying, feeling imposter, like, well, am I really kitten playing right now? I'm wearing a t-shirt and pants. But it is, I mean, it's whatever you make it, I have a little t-shirt I got at Goodwill for like a couple dollars that has a kitten on it. And like sometimes right now, like that's all I have. If I don't have the privacy that day, it's like sometimes wearing that shirt just like is like a little secret note to myself, like this is my kitten play shirt. I only wear it, like I keep it in my kink room, like in my costume bag, even though it's a t-shirt, and it helps me kind of think like I'm secretly a kitten right now.
Yeah, I think that's important across like kink in general, is that it doesn't always have to be this like super high-end like luxury thing. In fact, kink shouldn't be a luxury. Like, it's part of who, like, for a lot of us, it's literally part of who we are, or it's just something that you really, really enjoy. And it shouldn't be like cost prohibitive to be able to get into it. I remember having a conversation years ago with someone where I was like, if you're a dom, you're a dom, you're a dom, you're a dom, and you're a dom in full leathers, and you're a dom in jeans and a t-shirt. Like, that's your persona, that's part of who you are, so you're always that. So, like, you know, and it's funny, like, that was, we know sometimes we don't always hear our own advice. It took years for me to like have that recognition for myself around being a kitty. Like, I can always be a kitty.
That's a good point. I do talk about a lot for other people, and especially like in defense of my dom, because he doesn't have a lot of representation, and that same argument comes up for him. Like, he's still a dom even if he looks like he walked out of a Lil Wayne music video and isn't wearing the suit and tie of like 50 Shades of Grey. Like, he's still a dom even if he's representing his culture and who he is, you know? And so I've pushed back a lot for him, or in defense of him, but like you're saying, remembering to apply it to myself, that like, well, you can still be a kitten without looking a certain way or having certain equipment. It's a really good point.
Yeah, like, it's a thing we talk about in like burlesque a lot. Like, when you're creating an act, to not overly rely on your props or your costumes to tell your story, you know? And that, not just burlesque, even like when I was in modern dance, if everything is stripped down, you don't have the lighting, you don't have a lighting director, you don't have the costume, can you still tell your story with just your movement, with your choreography? And I feel like as kittens, like, we can take that and run with it too. Like, can you still get into your space with nothing? Like, just with your imagination and your heart and your body, if you want to like get your body involved. And I think like it starts from there, and then everything else is window dressing. And it's great window dressing, it's definitely fun, but it's not needed.
So true. Well, you do a fabulous job with that, because the first time when you were at one of Dolly's shows, and they were doing like the interview questions afterwards, and someone on stage asked something about something with pet play or kink, and you said you were a kitten, and you just did something really quick in the microphone, like you meowed, or you got down real quick, or did something. Like, Nikhil still talks about it. Like, he knew I was meeting with you today, and he's like, that's such an amazing kitten. He's like, I was so blown away that night. Like, she just went in that space, and he's like, she was such an amazing cat.
Yay!
And like you're saying, you weren't dressed as one that night. Like, that's not what you were doing. You just were quickly kind of went into that space to answer the question, but it was obvious to the audience because you committed to it, you know, and that it became so obvious. So he still talks about it.
That's cool. Yeah. Just, I feel like posture and gestures go a long way. Like, sometimes if I'm hanging out with people, you know, back in the day when we used to hang out with people, and someone will say something silly or cute, if I see them do this, or like, even if it's more like if it's like this, it's like, that's kind of the anime thing, but it's like this, I'm like, I see you. I see you throwing your little kitty signs. I see you. Yeah, you're a kitty, you're a puppy, you're a bunny, you're something. You might not even know it yet, but you doing this, pause.
Yeah, so true.
Yep. Yeah, I think I do this a lot. That's my little hand gesture for like, I'm kitty. Yeah. So that's so fun. Oh, well, I think I can't think of anything else to go into today. Really. I don't know. I'm excited about making my kitty yarn balls. I've been like looking online, and it doesn't look like anyone else is really doing it.
Yeah, no, I've never seen it until you posted it.
Yeah, and I'm just like, why not? And I'm kind of like, why not? Why? Originally I wanted to make the first time I tried to make a giant yarn ball. Oh my god, I wanted to make it for a photo shoot, for that kitten and canary photo shoot that I did with Dark Lotus photography at the beginning of the year. And I was gonna go huge. I bought like a yoga ball and I was gonna hot glue rope to it. Yeah, I was quickly defeated in that in that challenge. I didn't realize I started it like way too late, and I didn't realize how long it was gonna take. And oh my god, I only had like maybe a quarter done, and it was so heavy. So I let go of that idea, and I did the shoot and just did like the cat and canary thing because I had that little like bird toy. But I never let go of the idea of like, I want a giant ball of yarn. I want a human-sized ball of yarn, because like just playing with a regular-sized ball of yarn is not, I feel like it's not going to be satisfying for me. And so I started looking for like other ways. I'm like, how can I make this work? And I looked at like the giant like chunk yarn, but it's really expensive. So it's like, okay, well, that would be perfect, but I can't afford that. But I don't know. I think with the big blanket yarn, I have found something. It works, and it's super soft. I love how it's like baby blanket soft, and so it's like not just like a batting toy. It's also become my lovey. Like a lot of times when I'm in bed on high pain days, I'm just like laying in bed binging Angel or whatever, I'm snuggled up with my ball.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's another like double dip toy that could be like in a little space ways for sure.
That's always good fun. Well, thank you so much for like doing this video with me. I don't know. We'll see what happens with it, what I decide to do with it. Like I said, I might like do a series of like kitten interviews and just talk to other kittens. Like,
that's the idea.
Yeah.
No, it's weird timing. That's why Nikhil said thank you, because he knows I've been like doing a lot of healing with what happened with the kitten stuff with him. And so I was really excited because I felt like this was a good thing to like mark me like taking her out of her short-lived retirement, you know, and like coming back to it and in a safe, you know, obviously I feel safe with you and it's with a person. Because you know, it's a little after like being hurt by it, it's a little sensitive, you know, like I was worried about how I would feel like getting back into like thinking about being kitten again. So he was really grateful as well that like we could do this today and kind of help me get back on that wagon or jump back in that saddle, I guess.
Okay. Well, I'm so glad that I got to be a part of your healing help. And I'm actually gonna head to the craft store after this to get the like ribbon and stuff for your ball.
Oh, yay!
I should have that ready for you in a couple of days.
I'm excited. Yeah, just let me know. My schedule's pretty open, so I can just like buzz over to your house at a time that's good for you, you know? Just throw it in my back seat.
Cool. Awesome.
Thank you so much.